So my name is Stephanie, like Lakita mentioned, and I have been with the health department for about 18 years. Been through several different programs, and I'm very pleased to be working with the youth right now with educating you on the hazards of tobacco, but specifically vaping. I also go out and do presentations for adults too. So this is going to be kind of a combination between speaking to youth and also speaking to adults, okay? It's a little bit different when I talk to the adults. I don't give them all of the secrets that I give the, I don't give all of the youth the secrets that I give the adults. So, before we get started, I'm going to try to pretend like I'm not in church right now, okay? That I'm actually at a conference somewhere giving a presentation, because I got some jokes for y'all. But I promise that they're good. All right. So, what do you call a skydiver who smokes? This is an interactive presentation, so y'all talk to me. A skydiver who smokes. A cough drop. Alright. Why don't frogs smoke? Y'all should get this one. They already know how to croak. Let's try. Alright. Do y'all remember the show California Highway Patrolman? Anybody? Yes, Chips, that's right. You remember that. What do you call a group of California Highway Patrolmen with chewing tobacco? Chips and dip. Alright, my last one. What do you call a train that has an addiction to tobacco? A choo-choo train, that's right. That's C-H-E-W. Very good. Y'all are good. Alright, so I'm not used to holding the microphone either. I like to talk with my hands, so y'all bear with me, alright? So I am here to talk to y'all about vapes specifically. And when I talk to the adults, I definitely want to make sure that you all know what a vape is. Unfortunately, vapes come in all different shapes and sizes and colors, okay? They make it difficult for adults to actually understand what a youth might have. So this is the first vape that came out, supposedly. This was like a Juul. Juul is what we call also vaping, but Juul was actually the first company that came to the United States with this product, okay? When they came to the United States with it, because it's not regulated by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, they do not have to tell you what's actually in their product, okay? As of today, Juul is the only vape company that is regulated by the FDA. So you should not see Juul products on the market anymore, okay? My hope is that all the other vape companies will have to follow suit with the FDA, and they will all have to be pulled from the market. The reason is, okay, can somebody tell me why vapes were created? It was created for a good reason. It was created to help adults to stop smoking, okay? It is good, it is useful in that aspect, okay? But for every one adult that picks up a vape to try to help them stop smoking, 80 youth start vaping. Amen. That statistic is not worth it for me. I would rather that one adult that's a smoker find another way to stop smoking than for 80 of you guys, 80 youth, to start vaping, okay? Vapes are not healthy for adults or youth, all right? However, they're more harmful for youth than they are for adults. The reason is because your brains do not fully develop until you're about the age of 25, okay? Most of the youth, all of the youth that I talk to, none of them are over 25. None of them, okay? Statistically, if you start using tobacco products before you're 25, 99% of you will continue to be adult tobacco users. 99%. That's how much it changes your brain, and it is such an addiction that it is very difficult to stop. They have interviewed adult tobacco users and asked them if they had to do it all over again, would they make a different decision? And 70% of them said yes. They wish they had never, ever put a tobacco product to their lips, that they had never used a tobacco product. So learn from them and don't be one of those adults that is still using tobacco products after you're 25, okay? I encourage you to stop as soon as possible, and I'm going to go over some different ways, some different techniques and stuff that you can use. So we'll get back to these vapes in just a second. So I told you that Juul was the first company that came to the United States, and they told the FDA that there were only 7 chemicals in their product. That was a total lie, okay? They did not have to tell the FDA exactly what all was in there because they weren't regulated yet, all right? Juul came into the United States 16 years ago. Seems like it's been a lot longer, but it's only been 16 years. It took 14 years for the FDA to regulate Juul. They've only been regulated for 2 years now, okay? The reason that they did is because 85% of the youth go for flavored tobacco products, okay? They used to have at one point some flavored cigarettes that came into the market. That was quickly pulled as well because they saw that youth started using the product and they weren't even smokers to start with, okay? So they told the FDA that there were 7 chemicals in their product. As of today, our scientists have actually already found over 80 chemicals that are in there, but they're still claiming 7, okay? We've already found 80 that we've identified. There are more that our scientists in 2022 have not been able to identify. That scares me. I have no clue what they're going to end up identifying those products as, but you hear people say quite often that vapes are healthier than smoking cigarettes. They may not be. Once we identify all of those chemicals that are in there, we may realize that vapes are actually worse than smoking tobacco, smoking a cigarette, okay? I also hear youth say there's no tobacco in vapes. I hear adults say that as well. I know companies that have a no tobacco policy, but that does not apply to vapes because there's no tobacco in vapes. Tobacco is not the problem. Can anybody tell me what the problem is? Nicotine. Good answer. Y'all are good. Nicotine is the problem. Nicotine comes from the tobacco leaf, okay? That's why vapes are a problem, is because they contain nicotine. They actually contain more nicotine than what is in a cigarette. The vape companies want y'all to become addicted so fast. They do it intentionally. They put more nicotine in there to get you addicted so much faster, okay? So in the process of educating you guys, we're also educating adults, such as the example that I gave of company policies being a no tobacco policy, but not a no nicotine policy. Tobacco is not the problem. Remember, nicotine is the problem. So there's 3 major things that nicotine and these other chemicals specifically do to a youth body, okay? Number 1 is they permanently change your brain. Permanently. That cannot come back, okay? Which means once you start using these products, you change your brain a little bit at a time and a little bit more at a time. You can't ever get back to where it was to start with. And y'all are our future, okay? We need your brains to be the best that they can be. The second thing that it does for y'all is it causes anxiety and depression. It does not alleviate anxiety and depression. It causes it, and it makes it worse. That's not to say that if one of your friends has anxiety or depression, that means they must be vaping, okay? That's not what that means. But if somebody already has anxiety and depression, and they tell themselves, and the nicotine tells them, which lies to their brain, that this product is making them feel better, it's a lie, and it's only a temporary fix. It's only a temporary Band-Aid, okay? The third thing that it causes is it causes, obviously, health issues with your body, okay? Causes mood disorders. Some popular mood disorders right now are anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, a laundry list of those, okay? I believe that if we were to look at all of the youth that have anxiety issues, depression issues, behavior issues, acting out of class, those issues, I would like to see how many of them were actually using vape products, using the nicotine products, okay? Because it makes those situations worse. I feel like we have kids that are misdiagnosed with depression and anxiety and other diagnoses that if they looked at it harder, it may not be something of that nature. It may be something that's fixable, okay? Something that they can stop. All right. So this little vape right here, it's actually a little bit bigger than the first one that ever made. I don't have one of those yet because they're not on the market anymore, remember? So the first one was a little bit smaller than this, okay? They don't tell you on the packages that you see in the convenience stores, they don't tell you how many packs of cigarettes it equals. Do y'all know why? They don't want you to know how much that actually equals cigarettes. These things are so tiny, they're so deceiving, okay? The original one, it would look like a jump drive, like you would put into your computer. That was equal to 1.5 to 2 packs of cigarettes. That's 30 to 40 cigarettes in one little bitty pod, okay? Youth are going through these small pods in a day.
Yes, they are.
In a day. I know adult chain smokers, and I have talked to them and I have gotten confirmation that an adult chain smoker pretty much gets in 2 packs a day. Some upwards to 2.5 and 3, but most of them it's 2 packs a day. That's considered a heavy chain smoker, okay? Well, youth, y'all are doing this right out of the gate. You weren't even using tobacco products to start with, and you start puffing on this all day long, 200 puffs. By the end of the day, you're done, and you have smoked 1.5 to 2 packs of cigarettes. Tell me how you possibly could think that that is not going to change your brain. It is going to change your brain quickly, more quickly than it does an adult, because remember, your brains are not fully developed, okay? So, if we say that the typical Juul is 1.5 to 2 packs of cigarettes, if you were in a classroom right now, you would be taking a little survey for me, and that would be one of your answers, 1.5 to 2. But I'm going to show y'all some of the other vapes that are out there and how much they actually equal to. And I want y'all to share this with your friends, okay? Share this with adults as well. Because I have been shocked, I guess, for lack of a better word, at the adults that don't understand vapes either. Just yesterday, I was in the beauty shop with my daughter getting her hair cut, and one of the workers came out from the break room, vaping, blew it right in the air in front of all of us. Adults don't understand that that is the same thing as smoking a cigarette. You see the cloud that comes off from the vape? Okay? You see the cloud that comes off of cigarettes, right? It's called secondhand smoke. Well, it's called secondhand aerosol when it comes from a vape. Okay? So we cannot smoke cigarettes inside anymore, can we? That was what, in the 80s? Like 80s maybe? Early 90s? When you couldn't smoke anymore inside. But adults think it's okay to use this inside because it's just a flavored juice, right? It's just cotton candy, blueberry, coffee, smells good. My friends like the way it smells, but you cannot do it inside. I've personally been to the BJCC at a concert, and people were vaping in the BJCC because I can see the clouds coming up, okay? My daughters don't like it when they're with me because, I have to say something. I can't keep my mouth shut. So thankfully there was one of the workers coming down that had already seen it, and he told her you can't vape inside. So we have got to do a better job of educating adults also that if you're going to vape, that's your choice. But you cannot do it inside, okay? Can't vape inside. So all of these vapes that I have right here were actually taken off of youth in the school system in St. Clair County. I have a whole bag over there. This is just one of each of the different sizes that was taken. This one right here is pretty much the one that youth are using right now, okay? This is, I told y'all the package only tells you how many puffs, right? So this is a 1900 puff vape, okay? 1900 puffs. To most of you, that doesn't mean anything, does it? But it is after today. So what you do is, to find out how many packs of cigarettes this is equal, you take off one of those zeros from your puffs. That's 190. You divide that by 20 because there's 20 cigarettes in the pack, correct? Yes. So I'll do the math for you, and you get 9.5 packs of cigarettes. You won't see an adult walking around with 9.5 packs of cigarettes. But you'll see everybody, you'll see lots and lots of people walking around with something like this and not realizing that it's 9.5 packs of cigarettes. Another thing which is bad for those of us that wish vaping was never created is the fact that they don't cost that much either. This is $10. 9.5 packs of cigarettes is a lot more than $10. Last time I checked, a pack of cigarettes was about $6. Some are 10 now. We'll go with 6 to 10 then. The generic and the good ones, right? So they're not expensive, so it's very easy for youth to purchase these with their own money. Okay, it's not like they need parents' money. Unfortunately, a lot of the youth get their vapes from their parents. Their parents don't understand the significance of it either. Okay, listen to this statistic: 51% of the calls that go into poison control are from kids in the household that have gotten a hold of their parents' refillable vape juice. They do not have a childproof cap on them, because why? They're not regulated by the FDA. So it's easy for a child to take the lid off and drink it because it smells good and it tastes good. 51% of the calls to poison control are for youth or for children in the home getting a hold of their parents' vapes. Parents, if you vape, put your juice out of reach of the children, okay? So the next one is, this one is 3,000 puffs. So remember, take off a 0, that leaves you 300, divide by 20, and you get 15. This is 15 packs of cigarettes. That's a carton and a half of cigarettes. And youth go through these. These usually last more than a day, but 3 or 4 days. And you have put all of those chemicals into your body rapidly, okay? Your body is already exposed to some of the chemicals that are in here. I'm going to tell you about some of them in a second. Your body's already exposed to them, but the problem is your body is exposed to them through food, okay? But food goes to your stomach where there's all those acids in there that break down those chemicals and get them out of your body. The chemicals that are in these vapes, where do the chemicals go as soon as you take a puff? Into your lungs. There's nothing that's supposed to go into your lung except for clean, healthy air. Okay? All right, the next one, this one is 5,000 puffs. And you see how tiny they are. And most people can even keep them in their hands, and really people don't really see it, you know? But this is 5,000 puffs, which means it equals 25 packs of cigarettes. There's 10 packs in a carton, so that's 2.5 cartons of cigarettes. And guess how much this little thing right here cost? $18. Somebody knew. Y'all heard that, right? Somebody knew it was $18. Yes, $18. And the last one is 6,000 puffs. I didn't even know that these things went that high until I started doing this. But 6,000 puffs, you do the math, you get 30 packs of cigarettes for $21. 31 packs of cigarettes. You won't buy a carton of cigarettes for $21, much less 30 packs. So I want y'all to remember specifically, if nothing else, that I'm telling you how concentrated these products are, okay? You look at something tiny and you don't realize exactly how much is in there because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. Well, unfortunately, there's other methods out there to get nicotine into your system when you're at school because it's harder for your teachers to see. Now, they take vapes to school, don't get me wrong. At my children's school, they have vape detectors now in the bathrooms. Do y'all have those? They have vape detectors. It's up kind of like almost like a camera, okay? But it's sensing chemicals. Well, you youth are smart, and y'all start figuring out different ways to go around that. So the bathrooms have the pop-up ceiling tiles. So they get on the toilet, pop it up, and blow their smoke, blow their aerosol above the sensors. Okay? So some of this is for the adults to help you understand that these kids are addicted. Okay? It is like crack cocaine. It is like heroin. The CDC literally said that, not me, not Stephanie. The CDC said that nicotine addiction is similar to crack and heroin addiction. These kids have a problem. It's not something they can just put down. Okay? They need help. So some other ways that they can sneak it in, and it could be right at your own kitchen table, they have these nicotine pouches. They also make these products look like other products, okay? So obviously this looks like not necessarily a can of dip, but it looks like icebreakers. You have a grandparent that's raising a kid, and this specifically says coffee flavored. And plus, if they don't have their glasses on, they're not going to be able to see the fine print that it says nicotine pouches. They're going to think you have some coffee flavored icebreakers. One pouch in here is equal to one cigarette, and you just literally put it in your lip. And this whole packet right here has 10, and it costs $4. $4. I don't know about here we are in Silicaga, right? Goodwater. We're good, that's right. Goodwater, Silicaga, wherever. I do know that in St. Clair County, these products are sold directly to youth. Do y'all know what the age is now that you have to be in order to purchase tobacco? 21. It's not 18 anymore. It raised about 2 years ago. They raised it from 18 to 21. But these youth that go into these stores, they're not 21. But the workers sell to them anyway because they're not regulated by the FDA. Because their products are not regulated by the FDA. So the FDA has no jurisdiction over them. Unless a police officer sees them sell to somebody underage, there's nothing that they're not going to get in trouble. Okay? There's nothing that's going to happen to them. There's also nicotine toothpicks. There are nicotine gummies. There are nicotine mints. They kind of look like a Tic Tac. Come in the exact same container as a Tic Tac. They look like candy. Some of the packages look like a sucker. Look like one of the ones that you would take off and dip into some powder. They do all of that on purpose. They are, and I say they, that means big tobacco. They are very smart and they know what they're doing. They're attracting youth, okay? An adult smoker is not going to go after something that looks like a sucker, okay? They're just not. They're not interested in that. They're interested in their tobacco now, okay? They don't care what it smells like or what it tastes like. First of all, when Juul was regulated 2 years ago, that's when the FDA told them to take off all of their flavored products from the market. They could still do tobacco and they could still do menthol flavor. A year ago, the FDA came back and said, okay, no more menthol flavor either, because the youth continue to go after flavored products. Do y'all know what menthol does? Think about when you chew a piece of green gum or blue gum, and you take that deep breath in, and it feels good in your mouth, it feels cool and refreshing. That's what menthol does in tobacco products. It lies to your brain when you take a deep breath in, and your brain doesn't register the harm that you're causing to your throat. That's the purpose of menthol. So that you don't know instantly when you inhale, hey, that's scratching my throat. You've heard of adults who are smokers that have the smoker's cough? That's where they get it from, okay? So a year ago, the FDA said, all right, pull the menthol products. So now, only thing that Juul can have is tobacco-flavored products, which is what my goal is for all vape companies, hopefully quicker than 14 years that it took them to do Juul. Hopefully this will be, they can speed it up a little bit. All right, another thing for you youth. Y'all are refilling these, and they're not supposed to be refilled. They're supposed to be disposable. Do not refill them. They are being refilled with healthy products, not THC, I'm not talking about that one, but that one too. But they're being refilled with liquid melatonin, liquid vitamins, liquid caffeine, because kids are addicted, so they need something, to help with that addiction when they're at school. Those items are not meant to be heated. Liquid melatonin was not tested by the FDA to see what it would do when it was heated. Okay? Liquid melatonin is supposed to be ingested, right? It's not supposed to go into your lungs, it's supposed to go into your stomach. Don't refill them. Unfortunately, our world is so mean, for lack of a better word, that there are people out there that are refilling them with fentanyl. There have been several girls that have already passed away within the past 6 months maybe, that used someone else's vape that was laced with fentanyl. That person may not have even known it was laced with fentanyl. Think about the 7th grader that has a 11th grader sibling, okay? And they stole it from their sibling and they took it to school. They haven't even used it yet because it's cool just to show up with one of these, right? Even if you're not using it, it's cool just to show up with one. Not really. But, so maybe that your friend hasn't even used this yet, and you take a puff and you die from fentanyl. It's not worth it. If you are going to vape, don't use anybody else's. Don't share. You have no idea where that vape has actually come from. I heard. I just got so much information. So I already told y'all that the cloud that you see is not a vapor, right? It is not a harmless water vapor. It is an aerosol, because that's what you get when you heat chemicals together, and they have particles in there. They have particles like tar, they have lead, they have nickel, so they have actual particles in there. But briefly, I'm going to go over some of the chemicals that we know about that you all know about as well. One of them is arsenic. Can somebody tell me what that's for? Rat poison, that's right. Formaldehyde is to embalm dead bodies, not live bodies. Acetone, girls, fingernail polish remover or paint thinner. There's also rubidium, which y'all don't know that name, so I'm teaching y'all a chemistry word today. But rubidium is the color that you see in fireworks. Is there anything about a firework that should be in your body? No. That's just 4 of the chemicals of those 80 that we've already identified. Nothing in there is good for your body, okay? Nothing. So briefly, that aerosol that you see, it does harm other people, just like secondhand smoke does. It harms other people, and also, you've probably not heard of third-hand cigarette smoke or third-hand aerosol, but that's what lands on surfaces from the secondhand. So, if you are someone that's vaping in your car or vaping in your home, that secondhand is exposing your family members to the harmful chemicals. It lands on the surfaces, and you have one of these sweet babies that's crawling around. What do they do with their hands? Put their hands in their mouth. So I want you to envision a toddler with a vape in their hand. Okay? Because that's what you're doing if you're vaping indoors or smoking, or you're vaping inside your car. I've already mentioned that it affects everything inside your body. There's not a single organ that's not affected by your body. Briefly, do y'all know what these are made of? Plastic, okay? They're made of plastic. Plastic contains lead in it, which makes it shapeable, makes it moldable, okay? Whether it's a water bottle, whether it's a vape, whether it's anything plastic, a bowl. Do y'all know what the #1 littered item in the world is? The world, not just the U.S. It's not plastic, that was a trick question. It is cigarette butts. So, people are already used to flicking their cigarette butts whenever they finish them, wherever they are. They are doing the same thing to vapes. They're just tossing them. Well, they're made of lead. They're made of lead, they're made of plastic. When the sun and the rain gets a hold of it, washes it into the soil, and you can cause kids in the future to have lead poisoning. That's another thing that we do with the health department, is find out why children have elevated lead levels. So unfortunately, in the state of Alabama, if y'all want to do this as a project, that would be fabulous. But in the state of Alabama, there's no means to recycle vape products at this time. They are considered a hazardous chemical for 2 reasons. #1, because of the vape juice that I already told you about, and #2, because of the battery. It's an ion-lithium battery that can explode. So they can explode, which is different than your Duracell batteries that you can throw in the trash can. These are supposed to be, they're supposed to be recycled. You can take them to the police department and they will give them to the DEA and they will take care of recycling them for you. Unless you want to start one of the call to recycle programs and have drop boxes in the community where people can drop them off. All right, listen to this statistic. There are more smoking-related deaths in the world, okay? Smoking-related deaths than murder, AIDS, suicide, car crashes, and alcohol combined. Smoking-related deaths are 100% preventable. Stop using them, okay? Stop. So not only do I like to educate youth on why you shouldn't vape, I would like for you to know how you can stop vaping or how you can tell your friends to stop vaping. I left some pamphlets with Lakita. On the back of this one, this is one of our health department flyers, but on the back I have put different resources where you can reach out and get help to stop vaping, okay? To stop, to get your body off of the nicotine addiction. I do not encourage you to stop cold turkey if you're using one of these big products, because remember, you're putting a lot of stuff into your system at one time and you're gonna have withdrawal symptoms. I encourage you to stop on a Friday, unless it's spring break, that's coming up, right? To stop on a Friday because it takes 3 days for the withdrawals to go through your system. 3 days, 72 hours. So stop on a Friday morning, go to school, you should be okay. Then Saturday and Sunday, you're not gonna feel good at all, okay? But at least that 3 days will get that out of your system, and then you can go back to school Monday and not be so irritable. Also, I gave Lakita a sheet of coping skills, okay? Because you're gonna have to have another outlet to release your anxiety, something else to do. So these are A through Z, and it's just some little funny suggestions that you can do to help you with your anxiety. So that's all that I'm going to share with y'all. I do always ask at the end if you have questions. So do y'all have questions by chance? No? Hopefully all of you in here learned at least one thing that you're going to take to somebody else and share with them and encourage them to share with somebody else, okay? Thank y'all for having me.